So my journey at Lightning actually started in the community programme. So I was just a casual coach, assistant coach in the hub programme, and each year kind of started to do a little bit more for Loughborough. So then moved into a development team, then into NPL, and then finally ended up getting the franchise pathway lead role here. And yeah, from there really, my coaching journey's kind of gone from strength to strength. So I think it was my first year as FPL, I got the chance to take our under-21s. Also, once I started full-time, that's when I also started to coach across the Bucks programme as well. And I think highlights, there's been so many. I think for me, probably that first year working here full-time, taking on the under-21s, I'd never actually coached. That was the highest level I've ever coached before. And yeah, we actually came second in the league that year. So we actually lost out to Thunder in a cracking game. And then we kind of went away, worked really, really hard over the summer, and then came away as national champions at the NPL tournament. And that for me was a huge highlight, and really kind of started that sort of title journey that the academy's kind of gone through over the last couple of years as well. Because I believe that was the first national title for a full season that we've ever had in the academy. So yeah, that was pretty special. And then I think, last year Bucks being, back-to-back-to-back champions for the first time, and they've done that in the sort of like the new Bucks era, was a huge, loved every minute of that, and that was really proud of that. And then I suppose really it's the players. It's kind of the journey that I've gone on with the players as well. Seeing some of those players come to you at uni. If we look at someone like Selena, that she's on her first full professional contract this year. When she came to us, she was actually in our Bucks too. So, I think that's a huge highlight, seeing some of the players come through our doors and progress on to, incredible things. So, yeah, lots of things to look back upon with fond memories. So my vision coming into the role with Loughborough was, we had a really good base in terms of we had, quality people delivering. We're very lucky to have the resource, particularly the sports science support that we have here. I think one of the sort of like the key things in terms of our vision was we wanted it to be a really progressive pathway. So what we really wanted to see was, someone come into our programme at under 15s, and can they work their way all the way through to Super League? And, we worked really hard on designing what that sort of Lightning way looks like, breaking it down across sort of like the different pathway groups, and ultimately also targeting transition rates. So, how many players do we transition from 17s to 19s and up? And yeah, I think we're really starting to see some of the benefits of that. So if we look at our next gen team this year, I think out of the 19 we got registered, like 16 have played for us before, which is something that we're super proud of. And we've actually got quite a few girls that have been with us since they were 14 as well. So yeah, I think that was probably one of the big visions was, just seeing those athletes transition through, and can we really start to create a really positive culture around, playing for Loughborough and playing for Lightning. Oh, there's been so many. I think we can't knock the inaugural Next Gen title of last season. I've been really lucky that, we've had some amazing teams that have sort of like won national titles before, but I think that Next Gen League was like different gravy. The competition was so fierce. You're having the home and away fixtures. We got off to an absolute flyer. Lost a few players to injury, and lost a few players to some professional contracts as well, which is incredible. And yeah, I think it was a tough old grind going into the end of the season, and the players pulled out of the bag right on the last game of the season. All we needed to get was a point to get the league, and they managed to get that point over the line. So yeah, I think for me that's probably the proudest moment, because it's been positive, but also it was a huge challenge throughout the season as well. So my hopes for the future of Lightning Pathway is to really start to see that transition piece sort of flourish into our, Super League setup as well. So, we've already started to see that, Selena on that contract this year. But what I would love to see is, some of these players continue and get to that sort of final stage of their journey within the Lightning pathway, and see a few more players transition into those Super League contracts and continue to play for Loughborough. That would be the dream. If they're not in Lightning, I would love to see them continue and get to play professionally for other clubs as well. So I think that's the key thing for me, is we're a pathway, so we want to see those players progress on to bigger and better things. And ultimately for me, it's that full cycle journey right the way through to the top of Lightning. That would be incredible. So definitely want to give some shout outs, firstly to the players. I've been so lucky to work with a high caliber player, but also just great people. I've loved every single minute of every single season I've coached here. I love coming to work. I love planning sessions. I love working with them because they're so talented, and ultimately they've pushed me to be a better coach, which has kind of led me on to this next journey to move into the England setup. So I'm hugely grateful to them for the pushing me along the way. And then absolutely, all of the management teams that I've had the opportunity to work with, team managers keeping me under check. So Connie and Joe have been incredible over the years, and a huge shout out as well to Louise Hopkin, who's been my assistant coach through my entire journey here, so 4 seasons. So extremely grateful for her. And then finally, just the team here. Vic has been a huge mentor for me over the years, and we actually have known each other for a long time, so we used to play together back at Team Northumbria. So to kind of be under her wing and have her mentorship, supporting me has been huge, and I'm extremely grateful for that, and will always be grateful for that as well.